I can't say. I am the referee, I'm not the coach.
In this video, I want to talk about attacking shapes in rugby and probably one of the worst kept secrets, 1-3-3-1. It's been around for a number of years and is so widely adopted by professional teams it's almost more notable if they aren't using it than if they are. Simply, 1-3-3-1 is an attack structure for open play which dictates where the forwards are to be positioned on the field. The main goal of the 1-3-3-1 structure is to create space and overlaps. It does this in three ways. Firstly, quick ball. This is done by having the forwards spread across the field so wherever there is a breakdown, there's forward support. The groups of three will have the expectation that one will take it into contact and the other two will clear out. Meanwhile, the single forward out wide are there to support the backs and help secure the ball, ready for it to be recycled. Secondly, creating mismatches. A mismatch is where there's a large difference in skill set between the defender and the attacker. The classic example is a quick back against a slow forward. You'd expect the back to be able to beat the forward and make a break. The opposite can be seen as a mismatch as well, a strong forward ball carrier being defended by a winger. 1-3-3-1 creates mismatches by blurring the line between where the forwards are and the backs. The defence can't easily match their defenders up. Therefore, mismatch opportunities arise for the attack. Thirdly, drawing in numbers. By not making it clear where the point of attack is, the defence is tested about whether they can correctly defend. Having three forwards in the midfield running hard lines makes the defenders commit more to those players. If the defence overly commit, then therefore there's going to be an overlap out wide. The forwards that are placed out wide can also draw in more players, by potentially requiring more backs to make the tackle on them. So by combining these three factors, you can see why the 1-3-3-1 attacking structure is so effective. The quick ball doesn't allow the defence to get reset and settle. The mismatches cause the tackles not to be simple one-on-ones. This leads to players being drawn in and out of position. And all this results in space opening up and line break opportunities arising. So now we have a good understanding about the 1-3-3-1 system. Let's look at an example from Gloucester versus Worcester. We start with one pod already created a ruck. The second pod is around the 12, playing quite a wide, loose structure. This second pod of forward draws in enough defenders to cause space to open up out wide. The 8 supports the winger and is able to ride the tackle, drawing in more defenders. Here, the 5 and 3 try to join the ruck to get quick ball. The 10 uses the first pod. The second pod is actually made up just of one forward and the 12. And then the ball is spread wide to the number 2, who uses their physical size and the mismatch against the defenders to score the try. This example is really good at showing how the 1-3-3-1 structure works, but then also how it should be not seen as rigid. If ball isn't quick, then forwards should be able to support, and if a pod isn't fully formed, then either backs can join it or simply run it with less players. Here's another great example with Gloucester, this time against Leicester. The first pod offloads at the gain line, which draws in all three defenders and gets them quick ball. The second phase, the 9 isn't predictable, and instead passes out to the wide player. This leads to mismatches and drawing in many defenders. Quick ball is generated, and there's a lot of space out wide, which the 10 easily converts into a try. Now that we've seen the 1-3-3-1 structure in action, let's look at some patterns of play that work well. Firstly, interplay in the pods of 3. This can either come by the forwards themselves, or by a back feeding the forwards to pick the best line. This is a great way of changing the point of attack, finding holes and exploiting mismatches. With the forwards working together in a group of 3, there's a lot of opportunities for offloads. Another good pattern of play to use with the 1-3-3-1 structure is using the forwards as dummy lines. The defence will typically focus on the forwards and be prepared to tackle them, so pulling it out the back or skipping them entirely can mean that there's a lot of space out wide. This can work by passing to a back who's in the middle of the pod of 3, who then passes it down the line, or by passing directly behind a pod so they run a screen, or by passing to the pod itself, who then pulls it back to the back running behind them. All these patterns will focus the defence in tight and then pull the ball wide to exploit the space. It's important to note that the 1-3-3-1 structure is exactly that, just a structure. It doesn't always need to be strictly adhered to, and typically work best when it's fluid and people are playing what's in front of them. But having this structure as a basis for a rugby team gives everyone a clear understanding about how the team is going to play, where people are going to play, and gives attacking options across the field. There are countless attacking patterns that work well with the 1-3-3-1 structure. I've given just a few in this video, but hopefully now you have a good enough understanding that you can watch a game of rugby and look out for these patterns of play. If you want to see more examples, go over to my Instagram, where I frequently post play breakdowns. And if you want to make your own patterns, or just any rugby animations, head across to animator.rugbyslate.com. Please like and share this video as it helps me out a lot, and subscribe to see some more rugby content.